When I first started my coaching business 6 years ago, I thought the secret was hard work. And to be honest, I'm not wrong. I've had to work incredibly hard to create the business that I have, to create the skills to be able to positively impact my clients. And hard work is absolutely a key ingredient. But one thing that I did repeatedly was burn myself out. And I burnt myself out not once, not twice, but thrice. I did it 3 times, and you would think I would learn the lesson. But after 6 years, I can now say that the place I'm in is I have not burnt myself out in the past 5 years. It was 6 years since my first burnout, and then over that year I was an emotional roller coaster, put a lot of work into myself, and now I've been able to help almost 100 people, 100 leaders throughout the Lead from the Front program, which is the coaching program I run, which helps people get in great shape, avoid burnout and lead more effectively. And the secret to me doing that and allowing me to do that is hard work, yes, but the actual secret that's allowed me to enjoy that journey and do it sustainably and not burn myself out again has been personal leadership. And this is one of the biggest mistakes that I made back when I first started. Let me take you back. It was lockdown, and I saw it as a huge opportunity to step up, lead, and make a positive impact to people and the clients that I was working with, and just be a leader. I saw it as a great opportunity to do that. And to be honest, that's exactly what I did. I was working with around 25 one-to-one online clients with their health and fitness at the time. I was running a free 14-day challenge called the Survive to Thrive Challenge for over 70 people. And that was helping them stay sane and mentally and physically healthy during lockdown. I was delivering online PT sessions. I was running educational talks around habit, nutrition, habit formation, nutrition, training, mindset, you name it. But the one thing that I was not doing was looking after myself. I genuinely used to sit in the corner of my room from about 8 a.m. in the morning and work solidly until around 9 p.m. at night with no breaks. I would go downstairs 10 minutes to make a meal to get my lunch, but I would then just go and eat at my desk, carry on working because I wasn't where I wanted to be yet and more work needed to be done. And that is exactly what resulted in me burning myself out. And I remember the exact moment that I first experienced it. I had just gotten off a call with a new client. They had just signed up on the call, which was usually a very exciting time because we're about to start on this journey together, and it's usually incredibly exciting and a joyous occasion. But this time was very different. I remember closing down my laptop, finishing that call. They had just joined, they had just paid, and by all instances that should be a happy moment. But I remember closing the laptop, going and sitting on the sofa with my head in my hands, and I remember saying to Connie, what the hell is wrong with me? Genuinely, I felt completely broken. My head, I couldn't tell you what the hell was going on. My heart was beating through my chest, and I now realise it was my first panic attack. It was horrendous and not something I want to go through again. I had been through more since then, but that was the exact moment that, looking back, I now realise was my first burnout. And that burnout happened as a direct result of me believing I need to work harder, and because I wasn't where I needed to be yet, I needed to keep going. I hadn't earned the right to rest. But now 6 years later, after working with hundreds of people inside Lead from the Front in other capacities as well, and me not having experienced anxiety or burnout in the past 5 years, I can now tell you that rest and looking after yourself properly and good personal leadership, which is leading yourself first before trying to think about others, is the key to being a great leader and doing it sustainably. And you might be wondering, okay, well, what is personal leadership, Isaac? Okay, that makes sense. But let me explain a bit more around what that is and how you can take the lessons that I've learned, implement them for yourself so that you can become a successful and healthy, sustainable leader, because it is more than possible when you lead yourself effectively. So effective personal leadership is the following things. It's planning yourself effectively, okay? Setting goals, designing your week, mapping your days out, doing that effectively and having vision around what your goals are, what you want to achieve, and how you need to organise your life in order to do that. That is the first thing. The next thing is boundaries, having boundaries that actually stick. And oh my God, I did not have any boundaries back at this point. I would go on to my client communications, I would do anything they asked. If they wanted to change their program, I would people please, I would just do whatever they asked, even though they weren't the expert, they were actually paying me to get a result. But I was so focused on pleasing them that I would just do anything that they asked. So the next one is boundaries. So boundaries around, the way I think about boundaries is, imagine there's a line here and effective work happens within this line, okay? A boundary are the edges, okay? Anytime something steps out of the line, whether that is, in my case, clients messaging me out of hours on different channels, and I hadn't set any boundaries. That was the problem. I can't blame the client. It was all down to me. But every time something steps out of the line, you have to recognize it and then basically bring it back inside the line. That's what boundaries are. And when you set those boundaries, you are doing that so that you know, if everything stays within the line here, I know that I can enjoy the work that I do, I can make an impact, I don't resent it, I'm happy to do it. And my issue back then was that I had no boundaries set at all. I wasn't aware of the things that were triggering me. So a few examples for me was clients, they messaged me on any channel. Okay, I had no working hours. I remember messaging my clients on a Sunday evening, checking in with them, see how their week was, because I thought that I needed to do that on a Sunday evening because they need to be ready for the week, but not thinking about how the impact that was having on me. And also, like, clients actually thinking back, they wanted to enjoy their Sunday evening. So that was a massive example for me. And I would just reply to people anytime. I'd have notifications on left, right and centre, and the client was always right. And as a result, I people pleased and ended up feeling like I was an on-call firefighter. And if I wanted to be a firefighter, I would have signed up to be one. I didn't want to be one. I wanted to be an effective online coach, helping people with health and fitness at the time. And that was the second one. So effective personal leadership involves planning. It involves setting boundaries. And the last one is around upgrading your thinking, like actually working on your self-awareness and your mindset. Because if I think back to, again, the 6-year-old, not 6-year-old version, but 6 years ago, that version of me, my mindset was incredibly fixed. It was incredibly fearful. And if you do not actively work on your mindset, then that is going to hold you back, because that ultimately dictates all the decisions that you make. And what I did in order to change that was, every single morning I used the High Performance Planner. It's by Brendan Burchard, which is an incredible life and business coach, very famous. You might have heard of him. And I did his High Performance Planner. I answered, it was literally like a mini therapy session every single morning. All 10 questions in super detail, and I went through a period of doing that for years without fail. And I also invested a lot of money in coaching. I then invested in therapy when I burnt myself out again, because I realized the issue was me, and I couldn't be successful with my business and have the impact that I wanted to make and the life that I wanted to create for myself if I kept burning myself out. I effectively was working so hard and it's almost like my body and mind was giving me these physical symptoms of burnout, headaches, migraines, anxiety. It was giving me all of these things to say, you aren't ready for this yet. And that's genuinely what it felt like. So I worked on it. I did go to therapy. Some of the best money I've ever spent, some of the most life-changing breakthroughs. And those three things around planning effectively, setting boundaries and upgrading your mindset, those are the three things that I see as effective personal leadership. And when you aren't leading yourself effectively, it will feel like daily chaos. Your days will feel like they're never the same. They're not in control. There's no structure there. But when you get it right, you will feel that you own your day. And to me, that's what effective personal leadership is. And what I wanted to share with you was that story, because just very raw and unfiltered. This is literally completely off the cuff. Because if I rewind back to the belief I had at the time, was that I was not where I wanted to be yet. I didn't feel confident enough yet as a coach and a leader. I didn't have a successful business yet. I literally had no money. I was completely broke. And all of those things and those beliefs meant that I need to work harder, but I didn't have the personal leadership skills to make it sustainable and make it enjoyable. And it genuinely felt like I was building a house of cards. So in order to stop that from happening, I did those three things. I set boundaries, I learned to plan myself and lead myself well, and I upgraded my mindset and started working on my self-awareness and my thinking. Now, if you are a leader at the moment, or someone who's in a leadership position, but you might not even feel like a leader because you feel like you're faking it, you feel like an imposter. But if you are a business owner, if you want to be a successful leader, if you want to have a positive impact on the people that you're around, if you want to have a successful, profitable business, I can tell you now that you're going to have to work hard. But if you do not have the personal leadership skills that underpin that, then it's not going to be sustainable. You will have short-term, short-lived success, just like I did, and then I would crash and burn and repeat the cycle. And it was infuriating because I couldn't do anything consistently enough because I had no energy and no personal leadership to make it effective. It's like my body and mind was saying, you are not ready for this level of success yet until you build the foundations. And that's exactly what I did through coaching, therapy, and those three things around planning, setting boundaries, and upgrading my thinking. So that is what I wanted to share with you. I hope you found that valuable. And if you are in a season where you are feeling that you need to keep working hard because you're not where you want to be yet, but you continue to burn yourself out, then you need to master your personal leadership, and you need to be able to allow yourself to rest, because resting is a requirement in order for you to perform at your best. It is not a reward for being where you want to be. It is a requirement, because if you don't rest, you're going to be completely emotional, you're going to be stressed out, you're going to burn yourself out, and it will be impossible to build anything meaningful because you can't do it long enough to see the results that you actually want. So I really hope you found that useful. If you would like to see, actually, how is my personal leadership at the moment? Do I have effective personal leadership? Because then you can see if you're at risk of burning yourself out, just like I was. Then I've actually created a free scorecard. The link is in the description. It's called the Complete Leaders Audit. And it'll score you across your personal leadership, which is what I've spoken about in this video, but it'll also score you along your health and fitness to make sure you're not running on empty, and also your public leadership, so your ability to lead others with impact. If you'd like to take that, I'd highly recommend it. It takes 2 minutes, completely free. Hit the link in the description and it will give you an instant score to see, are you at risk of actually having that happen to you? So I hope you found that useful. Go take the scorecard, and I'll see you in the next video.